So I watched a video by JKU Gadgets in Gear on YouTube, and he was telling us about this Vgate OBD II Bluetooth interface. Now, I have two of these. I keep one. I've always had one of these ELM 327 interface, and that's just an interface that connects your OBD2, which all modern cars have, to Bluetooth, so your phone can read out the metrics of your engine and all of your fault codes and those kind of useful bits of information. Usually most people get them to clear fault codes on your dash or just to see what the fault code was, and they're handy for that, especially if you own a Jeep, and you get those all the time. However, this particular one is a little bit more fancy, apparently. The box itself and the unit itself obviously look a little fancier, but that's not really the trick here. It's the protocol that they've switched to in the Bluetooth band that allows them, I believe, to access a separate set of data that comes through the OBD2 interface. Now, that other one that I showed you, the ELM 235, that does allow the entry-level information, so you can see the RPMs, the trim, you can see how the engine's handling fuel management and those kinds of things, but you can't change anything. You can't really do anything but flush fault codes. This, however, once plugged in combination with an app that I'll link in the description of this video as well, because I can't remember even what it's called. I think it's like JScan. But it's a developer who basically made the ProCal programmer, or one of those similar ProCal tools, and made it a software that you just buy one of these separately. I had this sent from Singapore. It took, I think, about 2 weeks. It was $30 or $29.99 on Amazon from some random seller. It seemed kind of sketchy, I'm not gonna lie, but it made it here in pretty good time from Singapore. Came with a little booklet of instructions, and to connect the Bluetooth, the passcode is 1234. Once you've linked the device to your phone while it's plugged into the vehicle, you purchase the, I guess your VIN is your validation for the subscription or the purchase of the content that allows you to manipulate the data within your vehicle. And what it let me do was change the vehicle's understanding of its own tire sizes. I just moved this vehicle from the stock 31 point whatever inch tires up to 35 inch tires. So to adjust the shift points for the transmission for fuel economy, it is more proper to tell the vehicle what you're using. Also, that change in circumference around the wheel itself, in changing the diameter that much, putting 4 inches onto something that's 31 inches, you know, you're adding about 10%. So your speedometer would be off by an enormous amount, about 10%. So if you're going 60 on your readout with 35s and you haven't tuned it properly or told the computer which tires you have, then it will be about 6 to 7 miles an hour off, and 10% obviously as it goes through the band of all the miles per hour. So this should adjust not only the speedometer, but the available shift points for fuel economy, as the computer's already supposed to know when to capitalize on shifting based on load and all of those things. But it worked really well. It was fairly cheap. I think it's $18.99 for a single VIN. If you have several Jeeps, then you can buy a larger quantity of VINs and you can use this over and over and again. This device, however, if you know someone else who has the app but doesn't have the device, they could use your device and it doesn't nullify your application's VIN or verification or anything. The device is standalone and not relative to the app otherwise than the link. But yeah, I'm about to go test drive this, see about all the shift points, and let's see how that goes. So the consensus is it seems to be a lot more responsive to shifting downward more rapidly. So it is more quickly putting itself into an overdrive state so that it can achieve better fuel mileage, and it does it really, really much more noticeable with this configuration. And it also seems to accelerate just ever so slightly better. What you hear up there is a Porsche dumping it as hard as he can. There's a little car show locally here that happens every Saturday as like an ad hoc thing. And he was out there having a good time, showing everyone how cool his Porsche was. But yeah, overall it seems really good. It tries to keep, like I said, really low RPM. This is just so that you can see it shifting. I'm driving in a 35 mile an hour zone right now. It holds true to the speedometer a lot better too. I can tell that it's the speed that I'm traveling. It doesn't seem like you would be able to, but you can usually tell when you're going about 5 or 6 over if you pay attention enough. But yeah, it seems to go back into eco constantly. It wants to be always achieving that mode, which is really great because that's awesome when you get 13 miles to the gallon, because, you know, Wrangler life. But yeah, that's the total, the whole thing. It's awesome.